today, yeah.
Oh, no.
I talked to it this afternoon.
Oh.
What Debbie, is Debbie coming?
We don't know. Text me earlier today.
Well, should be back in school.
There's not, yeah, so I guess we'll call to order for the Historic Commission and the Historic District Commission and announce that the meeting is being recorded, in case there's any doubt. I think, yeah, so for the Historic District, let me just pull up the agenda. There's nothing new other than the minutes that got sent out. There's no new applications. Just whatever ongoing discussion there was. And then I think, so if you saw, Christina sent out 2 sets of minutes. And then
See.
she just did it.
Oh, okay.
And that
Oh,
also,
I've
I
got
can
copies if anybody wants.
Oh, great.
put them up.
I only made one of these, but they're short.
I made some edits to the August one.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, hopefully you can hear us, I replied to her email, but I think we do need to record the actual votes taken. There's Kathy. So I can put those up on the screen if you want, and the other ones, I don't think we actually voted or anything in August, or not in August, in June,
I think that's what it says in the minutes.
so. I don't know if you want me to reprint these, or,
These are the same, right?
yeah, here, this is the,
Let's see, I'll try not to touch it with my. I just terrible computer.
the August one, I added in the votes.
I
Because we
wasn't
have
at the
to, we have to
June.
formally record every vote we
Right.
take.
Right.
Um, I think the rest of it was the same.
Okay, so you added that stuff then.
And I added a little bit more detail, I think. I don't know, they don't have to be a full transcript, but at least has to have somewhat of a summary. But. At least they're done.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm also, who's the historical society runs? I just finished August 30th.
So I guess we'd accept a motion to approve the minutes from June 24th, 24, and August 26th, 24 as amended.
I wasn't here.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from, was it June?
June 24th, and
24,
August 26th.
24, and August 26, 24. Second?
So all in favor?
Aye.
August.
So that's pretty much it for historic. I don't know if there's an update on like new districts.
Well, the research is sort of fallen behind because of David. But we did meet again, and Connie Beal, and then there are 2 other, well, Karen has volunteered to do it. So we should have North Ave, it won't be obviously done for November, but,
Debbie and I are gonna go take pictures of the houses on North Ave.
oh,
I
good,
thought they got Dick Grady to help us, too. He's gonna go along.
good, because, I know that I have some,
Mm-hmm.
but all my information on houses that I had is lost because my computer crashed.
Oh.
And it was an Apple, and it's, the hard drive is soldered into the,
Oh, my God. See, I'm not getting that back.
well, that's what the Apple said, was somebody can do it, but it will be very, very expensive. Now, I don't know what very expensive is.
good. Oh, my God.
But they couldn't do it, none of they sent me first to Best Buy,
Yeah,
and they said they couldn't do it, go to Apple, so I went to Apple and paid it down, and more so. I lost all that information.
It would be, if we're speaking of pictures, we should maybe think about adding pictures to the design guidelines.
Yeah, that's
If we're seeing, because I was looking at some other towns. I know at some point we'll have to
that's a good idea.
revise them, but I think sometimes it's helpful to have like, do this, don't do that kind of thing.
Yep,
And like I was looking again at that planning board document, they had some of those like, examples of this
Right.
instead of this.
well, I hope that they seemed receptive when I talked to them, I don't know.
They did.
But,
They seem to care, and it's, at least they live in this community, it's not like they're from
Right.
somewhere else,
And,
they live here too, so.
and if they did something similar to the highway barn, that would not be bad.
Yeah, that was a good, I was saying it before, to Karen about the Gasco too, where not the new stuff, but the old, it's like a house, the old Western lumber.
Yeah, West
Right,
Lumber,
right.
nice building,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
At least something a little bit nicer than an ugly sheet metal building.
Right,
Mhm,
And
well,
it's,
it did look, I mean, there was
Stonework, it
stone
looked like,
underneath,
yeah.
mhm.
yeah.
but the top was not. Yeah. And, they are across the street they are about as to an historic district.
Well, yeah, if you're gonna tear down, fine, you're gonna tear down a historic home, it's whatever, it's commercial real estate, but we could build something a little bit nicer.
Right.
I'm hoping they will. We can't force
It's the same thing with I sent you the thing on Mendonma Drive too, it'd be nice to see something that's an ugly sheet metal building.
Right,
Considering, again, you fought and tore down these historic cottages.
I know.
Is there a building going up there?
Yeah, the planning board site plan process started for a proposed, what is it, 4 Nitmuck Drive? Or 1?
Oh, I don't know.
It's the Pinto property with those 7, where the cottages came down like all those years
Right.
ago.
But, I'm concerned about what's going on at Lake Nipmuc. It looks like the two new houses there almost look brutalist.
Which house, on the water?
Yeah. The one
Yeah,
on the,
They look what?
there's
The new one going in?
an architect design called brutalist, and it's very stark and,
UMass Dartmouth.
excuse me?
UMass Dartmouth. Have you ever been there?
Yes.
That's what that is. Like City Hall in Boston. Exactly, same.
Yeah, but,
Where'd you see these houses?
they're on Taft Avenue. There's
Are they
one,
really?
there's the one that, there was a lot beside where Fred Kelly lived. And they built this,
Thing.
this not very wide,
because they go
Straight
up.
and the one, and I suspect that the two
Well, the one that's
On the water.
Buckingham, Greg Buckingham. The one on the water.
Yeah.
That's like really tall, it almost looks like there's an elevator in the front, but I think it's some
That's
sort of.
almost the stuff they're going for now.
Well, I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if the people across the street can do something about their view,
Yeah, I don't know,
obstructing it.
probably not.
The house down on Providence Street it was a cute little place. I knew the family that lived there. I don't know whatever happened, but anyway, the place has been vacant for quite a while. Someone's bought it. I don't know if they're flipping it or what. I liked it the way it was, but it's dark.
Where is it?
It's down on Providence Street. It's down on the curve, down near where Kuchu lived. It was, Master Mario's. And I don't know who's got it now. It's been vacant for quite a while. But it's that stock.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the style of the day. It does. Now, what about that house that's going in right at the end of the lake? That little piece of land. Right on, edge of Stock down Nitmuck Drive. Right up there in the.
That's what I was thinking about. I
That's.
think it's 7 Nitmuck. So on that,
Oh, I see, that's
But isn't it gonna be
Pinto, I see.
a house?
on the right, it's gonna be commercial development.
Pinto owns that.
Pinto,
Right on the lake,
7 Nitmuck Drive.
right on the lake?
Well, the one on the left,
Yeah, right as you turn the corner.
where he did all the,
Right as you turn the corner.
Let me look at
That's
the
gonna be
map, I think it's
commercial
across the street.
Well, he's building something there, because he did all that.
Now,
work.
there's a strip of land there, it didn't even look like it was a buildable lot.
I think what's proposed on the water has already been through site plan review and been approved. I don't know what it is, I have to
You
dig.
know what, and you never kind of see their things come up in the planning board,
That one was a while ago,
I guess.
because they split that lot. I think that was all part of the house lot.
Yeah.
And then I think they split it. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, 'cause I don't remember hearing about any of
No,
that.
I know.
But
Yeah,
I don't go
that'd be
to
a
the
while
planning board meetings all the
Well, I
time.
watch a lot of
Should.
them on Zoom.
I do, I watched a lot of them on Zoom.
But, a lot of these places, especially that group of kids, you don't see them and you see a house on it.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think that's commercial, because I think there's a 200-foot commercial zone
Looks
off
like a
of
house
Route 16.
almost right now.
Well, yeah, I haven't looked that close when I so I don't know. Let me see if it's on
Now I
street
gotta go
view.
there.
Looks like there's.
I just see clearing, I
Looks
didn't
like there's
see.
a garage at the end.
Stuff
You
getting
can see like
built.
the garage doors, but then I thought there was.
I didn't see any building, the last time I saw it, I kept building
Building's
all the
on.
steps
Interesting.
that people said they were gonna take down, and they didn't, but they're
Building's
probably
on.
gone now.
It'd be nice, I mean, those are like the old
I know,
steps, but,
I know.
no, there's nothing here, I'll have to ask next door. I feel like I never hear that, but it might be worth when this comes up, I think this is the application we just got for 7 Nipmuc Drive. So again, if somebody wanted to attend the meeting and voice concern about it.
So where would 7 Nipmuc Drive be? Start down from
It's-
Nipmuc Drive,
If you go down Nipmuc Drive, it's on your right.
yeah. So that house up on the hill used to belong to Galactus, there's one house left.
Yes.
And then they took a couple houses.
Sure, it was those cottages that they took
Yeah,
down,
I
that
remember.
became historic,
I
it's
think
still in
Galactus
the
was a cottage.
Kathy really tried to save
Yeah.
those. She talked.
But that, yeah.
So that's where it's going up, so it's gonna be on Nipmuc Drive, it's gonna face Nipmuc Drive?
I think, let me see if I can.
I haven't seen anything at planning board meetings about that.
I emailed it to you, it hasn't even gotten the agenda yet, we just like got the notice that it was, so
Because I didn't check on the answer.
they've gotten much better, so now with the new town planner and stuff.
Right.
They've been doing a better job of like saying, hey, this project came in, everybody, if you have comments, be advised.
I noticed that they're doing that a lot.
It does seem, yeah.
Yeah.
Flavio Mello, outstanding bathroom finishers, seeking to construct 2 60 by 124 single-story buildings. Public hearing on October 7th,
Okay.
so it hasn't been. I'm trying to find them.
If you look at the agendas to see what's on, I just,
Yeah, it's like,
if there's anything I wanna see. Take a look at this one.
I do, I check in every day to see who's meeting, and then I go into the agenda to see what they're meeting about.
Yeah, I'll,
At 4 o'clock, was it?
Yes, I saw that.
Who was after that for?
I think it must be Tim, I'm Barney's wife.
Oh, yes, I did see that.
No, that's his sister.
Oh, it's a sister.
Yeah.
Okay, well, whatever.
Keep it in the family.
She,
Yeah.
Tracy's great.
She's been working up there, right?
Yeah, so I think
Yeah,
they finally came to their senses and realized you had somebody here that,
knew what they were doing.
I mean, and they're on top of stuff, things get cashed,
Good.
so. Yeah, here, this is, so Uxbridge Road is at the top of the screen. If you,
Oh.
it's kind of hard to see, but, let me get this to zoom in.
Yeah, do you know how old we are? You gotta zoom
That's
in.
this. Oh, like a normal.
Are they doing anything on that land that,
So this is Nipmuc Drive, so it's gonna have an entrance, probably a fire exit. That might be, again, oh no, maybe that might be something to talk to the planning board about, so I guess it won't be super visible from Nipmuc Drive side, but
will be visible from Route 16?
yeah, I think so.
Oh, so
Because
one
that's 16
story
at the top,
building.
so you're gonna come in, you're parking and 2 buildings.
Now, is there any of that land where, Quirk,
I think it abuts it, I think Quirk is over on the,
what's he doing with his?
no idea.
I think it's flattened over the rocks. Changeable.
Between that and. Well, I know that other property, because we talked about and unfortunately went through demo delay on the corner. I think he's basically waiting for the development and the road work to happen. I think Quirk's property is on the other side of that old right away for Thornton Street.
Of course. On the left is you, that's where his dad lived.
But there's like that big property, it was on the property that he flattened.
Some dad lived on Park Street.
And then this home.
Are they down with the Boston?
You're right, all right, his father did live on Park Street.
They lived on Park Street.
Anyway,
But Midnight Drive is,
so I guess,
Yeah, but you don't, if I then you go to Park Street, they lived on Park Street.
so that's it, I guess, that I have for district and then on commission, I can, let me just double check the agenda. I don't think there was anything major. There's no new projects, no hearings, no minutes. Just an update in the record room, which I can do unless Kathy wants to.
No
we
good
did-
idea.
Oh, we did get our first chunk of reimbursement like the day after our meeting.
was,
So we got $41,000 back. I just processed the paperwork. We're still waiting on the final half. We had to work with the architect to get a letter, which we got. And I think Kathy's been finishing up the report, so we're gonna send that in to the state. But that's mostly been closed out. I did reach out to an HVAC company to get somebody to come look at that. I haven't heard back yet. And I believe Kathy has been talking to Mark Bikino, who's potentially interested in using the record room as a public safety museum.
right, that would be a good idea.
So I think, Kathy called me, we were trying to figure out like what the process is, because I think technically that building is really under the control of the select board.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Like they're probably, depending on who it is, if it's on the, maybe through the historic society, maybe there just needs to be some sort of lease arrangement.
Well, that's what the Historical Society had.
Yeah, but now the reverse to say
Right.
that, you know, they can do this and they just, you know, the town's gonna want insurance. I do have the draft document that they worked on when the brothers were interested in the museum for storage space. So that's probably a template. But it probably would need to go to the select board, or we need to ask the select board to authorize this board to be able to make those decisions.
Yeah. Initially, when the Historical Society had it, we were paying nothing,
Yeah, it's a dollar.
including for the heat, and then one time the heat pump got covered with snow, and it just kept, there was no roof on it, there was nothing to stop it, and the heat bill for 1 month was $3,000. So, well, we thought that actually the town should not be paying that money, but there were a lot of improvements. I mean, the Historical Society spent a lot of money doing both of those buildings
Yeah.
when they first moved in.
We did the roofs, right?
We did the roofs, we did the, apparently the one up on Founders Park, they did the whole floor, because that, and, structurally, did some work, and put in heat,
I was like, you guys thought to put in the heat pump systems
yeah.
for what was in there.
And,
Yeah, so that could be a question. I don't know, you know, I mean, if it's just gonna be some stuff in there and it's open once a month, it's probably very minimal impact, but if there's a cost, you know, I think the tentative agreement with the brothers is the brothers were gonna take over the electricity bill. And they were gonna put a freezer in there and stuff. So I don't know what the town's position is on that.
well, that's what basically happened with the society, we took over the electric bill. It's like the insurance we weren't paying because the town.
Right. Yeah, no, I think the town, from what town council will want an outside group to have a certificate of liability insurance, but you guys already have, you just need to. Basically, you know, what the town's concern is like, if somebody from society slips and falls, who's liable, you know, who's insured for that? You know, if
Well, if
somebody-
the town, if the
somebody-
town owns the building, then the town ought to be.
Right, but they, you know, if they come back and say that you created the hazard, they want you to have insurance as well. You know, if somebody tripped over a display, or something.
Yeah.
We're dealing with this
Well, I mean,
part.
we're not doing
Insurance.
it, it would be the.
Well, yeah, well, however he just chooses to organize it, if maybe he organizes it under public safety or through, I know they have, the unions have nonprofits.
Wouldn't the town manager know how to negotiate on
Yeah, we have to talk to him, but
Is there any news about the land that
I think
is going to be donated?
the big question, yeah, so I think that, for me, I'd like to see us close out this project before anything goes in there.
Right.
Just add, like, I wanna figure out the floors and all that, so I think we could be looking at a solid 6 months to a year before we're ready to move things in there, or have people in there.
Because I know David was going to give the land to the town.
Yeah, so I need to talk to Rich Schofield, and I have just not had the
I
time.
think Rich is on board.
Yeah, so what we need to do is find out if he has somebody he works with in terms of surveying. Otherwise, I think probably the easiest thing to do is to reach back out to Gear and Hamlin, how do you say that? Since
Hamlin.
they did that survey. I did ask Dylan, the assistant planner, we would need them to prepare an 81P and would basically be an approval not required subdivision of land, and then create a deed that would then, the town would have to vote to accept at town meeting. There probably would be a cost, which I think historic would need to pay. It could be $7,000 for the engineering and legal
CPA
fees.
funding.
Yeah, we have money from this project, so we'll have a $22,000 surplus. There's also grant money available, according to Dylan, if we wanted to further explore potential future commercial use of this building. It sounds like there's grant programs out there that would do some of that, like helping us design the septic and figuring out the water and all that. But yeah, I need to just check in with Rich and confirm, if he has somebody he's already been working with, that works too. But G&H has all the stuff, so it probably makes sense to just let them do what they need to do and redraw the lot line.
Dan, I just want to add that,
Yeah.
Gary and Helen had already been out and done that entire area. They came out and surveyed the whole area. And that was done, I believe, 2 years
Right.
ago. And the town paid for that. And then they came back out again to mark the boundaries between 15 Main and the records room property. So I would imagine that asking them to connect a line, draw a line, shouldn't be at the cost of $7,000. I think we've already paid them quite a bit. I mean, I'm be curious.
No,
to-
I think 1,000 is reasonable, easily. And anytime they have to create a plan, you're spending a fortune.
Right,
It's
right.
just-
And
it's a
then there's
fact of life.
something.
But no, I mean, I'll ask them for a price. I think around 1,000 is probably what I would estimate this is gonna end up being, maybe a little more.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that sounds good.
hopefully, famous last words.
Mhm.
Dealing with this with another project too, that, it's another $500, another $500, and they used up all the hours, and
Well, don't you,
it's,
the thing is with any town, people have to pay the overhead and the prevailing wage and the whole thing.
yeah.
So that's about,
Just engineering is very,
that's about 50, well, it's 45.
I mean, you guys are lucky because you've hooked up with a really good architect for the senior project, but it's really hard to find somebody that's responsive, that has time.
Yeah,
They're all months behind.
yeah. No, my
It's
husband has
crazy.
been fantastic, I'll give him that, he's been great.
Yeah,
I would recommend him to anybody.
we did finally, I felt bad, I kept calling him, we got him to write his letter we needed for the record, and close it out. But I guess that's where that is, so we need to circle back with JJB and get them to give us a price to come back and do the floors. And I think there were some questions from CPA about the specifics of that. HVAC, we need to buy a dehumidifier. I think that's about it.
I'm just wondering what the town is, if the town has any plans for remediation of all the water that's coming down through these buildings, not just
Yeah.
the ones that belong to us, but the Baptist church was having a lot of difficulty.
I don't know, I know, so John Highway got a grant to look at culverts. There's like a state program, and I believe they're looking at, I think it's culverts initially, but to do like an analysis of all the culverts, because I'm sure there's 20 more Providence roads out there. But I think that's, like, there's a bunch of that type of work, and what you just, it's all related.
Right.
Just to, like, better understanding water in town and what our risks are gonna be as things progress.
Yeah, it's getting more severe.
Cause yeah, it does seem like that whole area is maybe overdeveloped.
Well,
Because by virtue of,
yeah, but, I mean,
yeah,
we would have 2 feet of water,
Right.
3 feet of water, and so.
Where's it coming from? Do they know?
It goes right down. the hill.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I mean, you have a situation now where you have a bank and that whole strip mall there,
Right,
plus Willowbrook,
yeah.
and it's all paved over the brook.
Oh,
And there's
Yeah.
also, that's where the septic system is as
Yeah.
well. So I think
But it
it's,
starts even way up, where Julie's house is. She said that when they had a meeting one day, she said that they get water in their cellar and then it keeps, just come, even Joyce Gilmore.
Right.
Comes right down.
oh my God.
Right
yeah,
down.
it's really, it's,
It's just going.
Mendon is either ledge or swamp,
Right,
really wetland.
yeah.
And I know we have become a lot worse. I never had, things like skunk cabbage in my riding room
Mhm.
back. And now it's encroached because now we have these developments. We have
Oh,
Blackstone
my
Street, those
God.
houses way up on
Yeah.
Blackstone Street
Yeah,
and Willowbrook Drive and, you know, I mean, it's,
yeah, it's being overdeveloped.
they
and
should
quite,
be looking at this, cause these are culverts, so hopefully this is part of what's being looked at.
and
Facing
actually, if
the
you see
neighbor.
where Richie Cochran is, you know, where the big red barn is, near my house.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he bought a landlocked, and my son-in-law was there with his drone, and we have a pond, little pond
Mhm.
in the back, and it's all wetlands. And, he just had his drone flying over, because they wanted to see the pond, he didn't want to have to walk
Mhm.
through it. And looked like a cellar hole where Richard was
Oh,
building,
no.
looked like a swimming pool. And
Is he still in Mendon?
oh, yeah,
Richie?
and Saturday, I don't know how, probably 12 Kimball's trucks
Oh,
back
no.
there.
Oh,
Yep. So,
Yeah, this is on the list, 1, 2, there's 3 different culverts on that Willowbrook that are on their list, so
oh, yeah,
it is known.
Dan, do we know if there is a stormwater management component to the Route 16 project?
So that was the one thing I didn't have time to get to. They did a presentation for the select board last Wednesday,
I missed it.
and I was gonna go watch it. Oh, good. I was gonna watch it to summarize it because I was curious, at least to update the historic, what's happening with the Civil War monument, just so we're all on the same page. I do know they presented to conservation with all their plans. I haven't looked at them, but I know that's happening. They do need a notice of intent through the Concom.
Mhm.
I don't know much more than that. I haven't looked at it.
They did say they have to move that one.
Yeah.
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 No, that has to be moved, and they said there could be 2 or 3 sites. But
Well, so that's,
it'll be up to the town to decide where.
I'll have to go watch it, because that's different than what we were told. We were told that they were just gonna shrink that monument, but the monument could stay, but that big triangle was gonna be a little square instead.
It does look that way. It does look that way.
Top of Millville?
Yeah, the top of
Maple.
Maple.
But they did say that they would pay to move it also.
That's an interesting thought. So that maybe needs to be a discussion with the historics.
Mhm.
Because I know the brothers one, I think they were gonna have to move that little thing, but that can go, somewhere else.
I did mention to the women that came and talked to me about what they were gonna do, the easement that they were going to take in front of the inn.
Mhm.
And I asked if they approached the Historic District Commission about any of the changes that are going to be made.
Route 16 did, yeah. They came and talked to us like 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I know, like, so the island at North Ave is going, that, like, in the middle of the road there.
Right, well, you're not gonna be able to turn right there. I mean, they're not gonna
It's gonna
have
be,
that.
yeah, it's gonna be a property.
You're gonna have to go up and,
Not a, whatever's going on. And I know they can't touch any of Founder's Park because it's a park and it becomes a whole mess. But unfortunately, that means they have to take land on the other side, I remember that. I mean, it sounds like that, you know, what they're gonna do, like the Civil War monument's in rough shape, the walls are coming down. So I think it's a net positive if they can rebuild it and straighten everything up.
Right. They did say they moved everything.
Yeah, and they said they'd.
I know Joyce Gilmore was wondering about
You know, I don't know where you move it to though.
the town,
Well, the town that used to.
well, that was, it's now under the sidewalk, I guess, in front of her house. on
What she
23
wants, what she
Hastings.
want done with it.
Well, she didn't want, I think she wants it to be a site, but I think it's a little late now since they put the sidewalk over it, I think.
Yeah, I'll have to go watch that
That should
section,
have been done before.
or maybe explain to them, we would request that they come back and meet with historic.
And I think the other thing is they talked about taking that big birch tree down in their yard, which is huge.
Yeah,
And I think that they should be doing it, not only is it a historic district, but it's a scenic road. And
Yeah.
considering it was first called Birch Alley, I think that's the only birch tree there.
What's it called, Birch Alley?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Washington Street, yeah.
Wow. It became Washington Street when George Washington did his tour of the Eastern
Oh.
Seaboard after he became president.
You know,
They renamed it.
that actually might be a situation in which our scenic road bylaw is valid. Because it's part of road work.
Yeah.
So if they're taking down a tree that's within the road right of way, that needs a planning board hearing.
Well, I think we'd have to force the situation or suggest the situation.
What would the tree be, like in the middle of the sidewalk or something, when they put the sidewalks in?
I have no idea, but they're taking out, I think, the boxwoods that belong to the Gilmores and some steps.
They are pretty close to the road.
They are.
Those steps are right on the road.
When you look at Route 16, that Route 16, I was amazed, didn't go in really until like 1950 or, before that, that was like just a small, and when they did that, they straightened out, they took a lot of houses down. You look at the history of that.
Really?
Yeah.
You look at those
They
pictures,
took
it's
some
like
houses
dirt.
down. Yeah. Yep.
Even like 140 is the same thing.
1950. I grew up in the 50s, so it was a
Yeah.
secret.
Only
I know.
like the
Probably like-
1930s.
No, I was born.
Did
I like staying.
Well, I remember when they put 495 in.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was in college when they did that.
Yeah, so we should follow up on that and either have them come talk to us, especially if there's changes that need to be made, that should really be historic.
They did talk about the mile marker. Is that
Mhm.
what it
Mhm.
is?
I know way back when they came out and talked to us, I remember them saying they have like a whole department that deals with historic signage and stuff.
Right.
And there's an old sign in the North Ave intersection too, that hopefully can be preserved and.
Well, the sign right up here at the thing, it's
Move it somewhere.
it's just.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an old one.
Yeah.
But like Bellingham had those signs, when we went to Bellingham, historical
Right.
society,
Well,
they had those signs.
The one here, Highway, I think Mike did, he painted it. They took it and painted it and cleaned it all up, the one in the Memorial Square,
Yeah.
it came out really nice. I mean, I think this monument is decent now that, they came and redid it,
I think so.
curving and
Oh, this
resealed
one,
it,
yeah, it's
because it was in rough shape with the grass. And the Civil War one is terrible right now, so if they
A lot of it's just cleaning it.
reseed it and get a curbing so it keeps the salt out of it. Because even in the street view, it looks better than it does in real life. This is from September 23. I don't know. All right, well, I don't know if there's anything else.
Anything else?
So we'll just confirm the next meeting date. First, sticking to the third Monday.
70.
Yeah, and I think the senior center thing is the 28th.
Mhm.
That could conflict with the planning board meeting, just so we're aware. Actually,
October
almost
20th.
definitely will conflict with the planning board, but that's fine, the 21st.
Now, is that the senior center on it is on the agenda for the, November meeting, is it not?
It's on the, yeah, so, well, no, it's not on the town meeting warrant, it's on the ballot, because it already passed town meeting.
Now it's gotta go back to town meeting.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought they
Gotta get both,
I
yeah.
thought they had enough approval from the first town meeting vote.
Yeah, but they did, but they still say we have to go back for both.
Yeah, because it's.
because
changed.
they've
Yeah.
changed it,
But it's less, not more.
But still, it still has to be.
but they really have to,
I didn't think so, but
I don't,
I was
I
overruled.
I would think it has to, if you have to do any changes, I would think.
I don't know.
But all, no, because town meeting just voted on the money, so if we voted 10 million and now it's 8 million,
Mhm.
you're good to go. But maybe the way they voted it, maybe it was contingent,
Well, I think they've
When
also,
did we say?
they've changed the design,
the 21st.
have they not?
I can't,
Yeah.
I can't think of
Okay.
the first, but that's okay.
Would you want to try and
Well, no, don't change it for me, I got another meeting that night.
see if we can,
Right.
You don't have to change it for me.
After,
um,
I'd call it in the community center at this point.
but
Yeah,
the,
because I already saw a sign that said,
They
Oh,
had
did
it-
you?
they have an informational thing on the 28th. And I think
They have a thing on a Sunday night or something.
the senior center one was at the 30th, because I told them I would film it.
I think it's a Saturday, is it not? No, it's not, can't be. The 21st is a Monday,
Yeah,
Oh, no, no, no,
and
no.
the 28th is not.
You can do it on 21st, I mean, I can't make it.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I
if
mostly,
anybody else said, do it on 21st.
I don't know if there's too much, it could be projects coming, I mean, and so at some point, we will need to hold a hearing for the whole Washington Street project, although I do think, unless something substantially has changed, I think it is likely to all be exempt because it's not within the public view because of how they've changed that project.
Mhm.
But at some point, that will need to come before us, and we will probably need to have a formal hearing and make sure we follow all the things and
What is that topic?
the part of the grocery store housing thing on
Oh,
Washington Street, because
It's going
technically it's in the district.
parallel to,
So I had, way back, I had talked to John and Nina and suggested that they do it, like a joint meeting, historic, because they need demo delay on the house,
Mhm.
get it all done. Because the last I heard
are they
was,
taking down Conlon's house?
the last I heard is they wanted to keep the house and demolish the barn, but they were gonna build a new house in the style of the barn
They-
as a compromise. But that was here.
They can't take that house down, it's an historic district.
Yeah, no, the house he wants to save, that was what I was told, they want to keep the house in the barn,
And
so
they-
that's gotta come to district.
And they can't take the barn is nicer than the house.
Yeah, yes, I know, that's what
Beautiful
Priscilla
barn.
told me, yeah, Priscilla told me that too.
Yeah, so at some point that will need to come to us, so I don't know when. They've got all their approvals.
Yeah, I wouldn't vote for them tearing any of that down.
You know, the historic district has a little more control over demolition than historic commission,
Right.
I believe.
Well, yes, we do. I hope.
I have to do a little more research to understand exactly what our power is. You know, can we just flat out say no? I'm not sure.
I think so, but unless they're doing demolitions,
You know,
think what?
They'll find a way to do that.
Hmm?
They'll find a way to do
I know.
that. The time in the middle of the night. No, but they found ways to, no, to get more than we can do it.
but that's the only big thing that I can think of. And then I don't know if anybody ever was in, you know, somebody should try and talk to that person on Main Street there, but
What person?
whatever they're doing with the Eden Blue House.
Oh,
Anybody, yeah, I don't know.
is he the same, he's the same person that was doing the thing on Melville Street? The
Yes.
barn and the,
I mean, it seems like, I would assume if they were just gonna tear it down, they would have done so, so I'd like to think they're trying to save it, but.
well,
Maybe they're doing it when they
is
have
it,
money.
is
Yeah.
it, is it,
You know, as they go along.
Right.
I don't even,
Legally, no. Functionally, probably.
well, he can't.
they're saving, you know, so.
This town you know, but I don't know.
You know, any of the research that I did early on said that it is more cost effective to restore and rehabilitate than it is to tear it down. And that was study after study after study, so.
Especially in these old houses that are built like solid,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You can't find one these days.
you know, maybe a little cottage in the way can get it. But these, you know, like this building that, you know,
It's all of
Okay, so what did we decide on the 21st?
I think so, if that works for now, and then if something changes, we need to have a bigger discussion on something we can see, I don't know. Should we adjourn?
yes,
Yes.
So, motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi, Kathy.